Hello, and welcome back to Coin Lady channel. The analyst explains why he thinks XRP will eventually be worth anywhere from $3.50 to $10 in the not-too-distant future. There are the triggers that would send the XRP price soaring to such heights. First off, I want to say that I respect what initially seemed to be quite low expectations. Despite my cautious assessment, the rate of return is still extremely high. It will be revolutionary in comparison to the current state of finance. I know that's the case for many of you who are currently listening. Therefore, let's put things in perspective and be conservative. Reason being, in the crypto realm, it's not uncommon for investors to hope for returns in the thousands within a matter of weeks. Yes, I do comprehend that. Nonetheless, I respect the sober attitude, especially in light of the fact that some have been speculating on XRP values of $10,000 or more than $100,000. Those are the sorts of things that make me want to bang my head against a wall. Therefore, I'm relieved. Now that that's out of the way, I should say that there are parts of this viewpoint that I agree with and parts where I respectfully disagree. Now, I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. Whether you agree with me or not, I hope you'll continue the discussion. There is no absolute right answer because it is so subjective. All we can do is wait and watch what happens. Also, I thought I'd let you know that we hit a new Bitcoin high for the year 2023 yesterday. Also, I'm aware that costs have decreased since then. Where, though, is it? We're already into February, and Bitcoin is still nowhere near the $12,000 price point that some predicted we'd see in January. So, to reiterate, the market bottom was in November of last year, barring any unforeseen circumstances, which is my standard disclaimer. Okay. The bottom, however, has already fallen out. The SEC versus Ripple case is nearing its end. I see nothing but sunshine ahead. To set the record straight, though, I have zero experience in the financial sector. I'm not here to give you money advice. And remember, you should never use anything I say as a reason to buy or sell something. I'm just a fan who occasionally posts videos to YouTube regarding crypto-related subjects for kicks. As I record this, the market cap of all cryptocurrencies is $30,222 million, while XRP is at 46 cents. Bitcoin's 49.44% market share equates to $1.18 trillion. Cryptocurrency optimism is at 55 points and fear is at 45. This is a slight decrease over the previous several days. And yet, there are always the cute little fuzzy cuddly shoppers out there. They think it's great that a bunch of scumbags have stolen from them. I can't stand the way they quiver in dread and can't get any rest. Good to hear. Good news for them. While a prominent influencer in the crypto assets industry recently took to Twitter to outline a series of price targets for XRP that he believes could be achieved in the future, he emphasized the need for the XRP community to maintain reasonable expectations. I have to say, that was a welcome change of pace. You can be excited, I'm excited, it's alright to be excited. What I really like, though, is when individuals show enthusiasm while remaining grounded in reality. Mind you, the XRP community is enormous, but that's true of any sizable organization. In my opinion, it's the finest crypto community there is. However, there are literally billions of us. This means that there will be a minimal amount of flavor. And there, I'm telling you, you'll receive a little sampling of most of God's species. As a result, some people will be overly ecstatic, leading them to believe things that are, in my opinion, completely absurd, such as the value of 100,000 XRP. Everyone has the right to their own opinion. Still, it's nice to see people making honest attempts at using reason and reasoning. Hence, in terms of reasonable anticipation. So, I take it he's making an effort to root himself in reality, which is commendable. However, while I agree with him on certain points, I must strongly disagree on others. Let me explain the tweets you saw before. You may recall that he tweeted out potential outcomes and the corresponding price increases or decreases that he anticipated. This led us to draft a settlement announcement. Prices range from $3.50 for relisting on U.S. exchanges to $7 for an initial public offering, IPO, in a bank or a collaboration with multiple banks. $10. Stay grounded on reality and XRP's fitness requirements, he said. Let's have a chat about that, then. Most of us would probably agree that it would be a good thing if a settlement was announced. First of all, if you're referring to a settlement prior to summary judgment, then yes, we know it would be positive because Ripple wouldn't agree to a settlement prior to summary judgment unless it was advantageous for them and related, the future. The future polarity of XRP. That means a massive amount. The fact that we'd be angry would be obvious. The possibility of settlement after a a summary ruling should also be taken into account. Because I'm not a lawyer, I didn't know that settlement was an option after the judge ruled against the defendant, but I now see that it was. In other words, negotiations continue. But this only implies that the remedies phase of the trial was included in the settlement. Given that the judge has already decided that you were in the wrong, there isn't much room left for negotiation. So, that sums up the situation. After then, settlement would be contingent on whether or not that was good news for XRP. In the end, markets will speak in their own language, even if the ripple effect doesn't officially last. Right. Accordingly, if you're going to bring up a settlement announcement, he's effectively already advocating for XRP to hit new highs. That's not crazy, in my opinion. I have no idea if it is going to occur. For the most part throughout the past few years, I would have said. What do I believe the outcome of the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit will be for XRP? Investors, could this result in a new record high? Most of the time within the past few years? If you had asked me that before, I might have been hesitant to provide a definitive yes or no answer. For the most majority of the past few years, that has been my assessment. Honestly, I guess I was mostly wondering how high it could go, like, once. I know this isn't a forecast, but that wouldn't have passed muster in the past either. How much were you hoping to get for it, exactly? I have no idea. But a record-breaking high? And I say it for very practical reasons. Why? Because a new XRP high has never occurred without a Bitcoin rally preceding it. Well, maybe it doesn't seem so insane if this occurs at the same time as Bitcoin's insane rally. But if it happens in a theoretical world where Bitcoin isn't experiencing a wild rally, the chances of it happening plummet. Would this be such huge news that XRP would act this way for the first time ever? Even now, I can't say that I'm 100% sure that's the case. But I've said in the past few weeks and months that I don't find that to be an insane idea. If you consider the scope of anticipation, such as the number of viewers around the world. Simply put, I don't think it's completely insane to consider the possibility of it. But if you want to talk about the odds, man, that's a challenge. Because, once again, this is completely unprecedented. After whatever happened, you'll have the benefit of hindsight and be able to assess the situation objectively. If you were to engage in some hypothetical Monday morning quarterbacking, you may think to yourself, oh, yeah, I don't see more clearly. Well, yeah. And that's what we'll be doing, attempting to figure out what went wrong. I'm just going to pass it along. This is hardly the craziest concept either. Yet, I anticipate a significant improvement in my state of health. The current state of Bitcoin makes it seem as though we'll reach this conclusion in a matter of weeks or maybe even a few of months. If the price of Bitcoin keeps rising, we'll reach this conclusion even sooner. This is not an outlandish idea. Then there's the part where he says relisting XRP on our exchanges will drive the price to $5. Well, look, I think when you read positive news like that, you might see some excitement. That's because what we're talking about here is the fact that, at least in my opinion, the price of XRP is being artificially repressed right now. And now we're discussing how to reverse it. So if you say that XRP's rising value is due to these actions being reversed, that doesn't sound crazy to me. To me, that makes complete sense. I can't imagine how you could set a firm price for that. You'd think it would have an effect, since suddenly a lot more people would be able to buy XRP with ease. But is that temporary? Surely not. Your discussion of the case's resolution and relisting, both of which are highly probable, are the only factors that may possibly propel it to that level, which would be a new all-time high. Almost perfectly congruent. Of course, this wouldn't happen in a vacuum. Instead, you'd have to wait until the case was resolved, then relist. Therefore, his choice to split up in the manner he did made sense. What I mean is that, logically speaking, they are still rather similar. The price of XRP would be even higher if a Ripple IPO succeeded, which is something to keep in mind if we're going to speak about it achieving anything. But I'm telling you, this November will mark 6 years for me in this position. I can assure you that the price of XRP has not been set by the actions of Ripple. So even for the individuals that bought XRP in the hopes that, the developer activity from Ripple would aid, even for them, the developer activity is still good news. They complained all the time that good news from Ripple wouldn't affect the price of XRP. I've been going back to watch it for about 6 years now. Is this the very first time that something like that has happened and you've received good news from Ripple? And then what does that mean, if anything? At last, we've arrived. Perhaps I do. Again, I'm not trying to argue, I'm only expressing that our observations contradict the store president's claims. That is something I really hope happens. I'm only trying to show my skepticism. The crypto assets man in this article seems to have a lot more faith that this will work. I have to ask though, what evidence do you have from the past that suggests what Ripple does will lead to favorable price movement? Since the SEC sued Ripple, effectively assaulting XRP holders, the SEC has had more influence over the price of XRP than Ripple has. The XRP value did drop because of that, you're right. Today it is being held down artificially, and if that were to be taken away, it would rise again. Probably restoring some of that lost ground. However, Ripple is oblivious to this. After the IPO, the price of Ripple increased to $7. That's a claim about which I have serious doubts. Neither the range nor the not price. The estimated cost is reasonable. To me. Just speculating on the crypto markets and the sustained interest in crypto and XRP leads me to this conclusion. Even while it makes sense to me and doesn't strike me as crazy, I have no idea what the future holds. I don't think it will happen. To put it simply, I don't think it's completely out there. My hunch is that the vast majority of listeners would agree with me in saying that view is quite conservative. Okay, I'll grant you that much. However, a deal with a bank eventually drove XRP to $10. To this point, I'm beginning to wonder if I'm missing something. After hearing yet another reason why we didn't implement XRP to the level that was proposed, I'm beginning to feel increasingly confused. With all due respect, I must disagree. Because, as I indicated only a few minutes ago, Ripple's positive business developments have not favorably impacted the price of XRP. This holds true even when considering what has happened over the course of Ripple's existence and what they have been doing with XRP. And right now, I have no idea what you may imagine would bring about that transformation. Since I've already expounded about this topic at length, I won't bore you with yet another digression. But, certain deals in terms of liquidity on demand. When seen on such a small scale, it is easy to see why a single transaction doesn't have much of an effect on price. The purchasing and selling forces are essentially similar and they occur so rapidly. However, it's important to realize that when a certain quantity of XRP is allocated to a certain purpose, such as on-demand liquidity, that sum is unavailable for any other use. So, in theory, I still think that it might cause the price of XRP to rise if there is enough demand. So, I'm not denying the possibility that it could happen in this case. I'm not sure whether that's what he's been driving at, but it seems like you just mentioned something about the price increasing due to reports of collapsing bank partnerships. Therefore, it's hard to say for sure. That's why I love these reasonable estimates. In terms of repairing the harm done by the SEC, I agree with some of what he is stating here. Nonsense if something like that happens. However, there is just no historical precedent for what he is saying Ripple is doing that is driving the price of XRP to go up by that much. And I certainly hope he is. That's an awesome idea. I don't think the pricing ranges are crazy, and I don't see any reason they can't be met. Regardless of that. What I mean is, XRP can succeed without an initial public offering or a slew of bank collaborations.